went dead silent the second she said it out loud. Under the flickering lights of a small community center, parents sat in folding chairs while their kids lined up for the free self-defense workshop. Near the back wall stood a tired man in a faded gray hoodie, arms crossed, saying nothing. The instructor, sharp-tongued and confident, looked him up and down and asked if he even knew how to make a fist. Half the room chuckled. Nobody expected what was about to happen. Before we get into this story, if you believe real strength doesn't need to shout, hit like, drop a comment, and subscribe so you never miss a story like this one. Now let's get into it. His name was Daniel Ashworth, 41 years old, a single father raising his 8-year-old daughter, Wren, on his own. Daniel worked nights stocking shelves at a grocery warehouse, and every morning, no matter how tired he was, he made her breakfast before school. He never talked about the years before Wren was born. Not to neighbors, not to coworkers, not even to Wren herself. All she knew was that her father was quiet, patient, and always showed up. That was enough for her. Money was tight, but when the community center announced a free self-defense workshop for kids, Daniel signed Wren up without hesitation. He sat in the back that Saturday morning, hood up, hands folded, just watching his daughter practice blocking moves with the other children. He wasn't there to be noticed. He was there because he wanted Wren to feel safe in a world that hadn't always been kind to him. The instructor, Marisol Reyes, ran the workshop with pride. She'd built a reputation teaching self-defense classes across the city, and she liked control. She liked being the smartest person in the room. When she noticed Daniel sitting quietly, arms crossed, not clapping along or cheering like the other parents, something about his stillness irritated her. She decided he needed to be taught a lesson in front of everyone. She called him up to demonstrate a wrist grab escape, the kind of drill meant to build kids' confidence. Daniel shook his head politely and asked to stay seated. Marisol smiled the way people smile right before they say something cruel, and told the room that maybe he was scared, that maybe a man dressed like him had never had to defend anything in his life. A few parents laughed nervously. Wren looked down at her shoes, her small hands curling into fists. Daniel looked at his daughter. He looked at the instructor. Then, slowly, he stood up. He didn't say a word, walking to the center of the mat. Marisol grabbed his wrist hard, the way she always did, to prove a point, expecting him to freeze or fumble like every other reluctant parent she'd pulled up before. Instead, his hand moved before hers finished closing. In one smooth motion, faster than anyone in the room could track, he reversed the grip, controlled her balance, and let go, stepping back just as calmly as he'd stepped forward. No aggression, no smugness, just precision. The room fell silent again, but this time it wasn't mockery holding the air still. It was shock. Marisol stepped back, rubbing her wrist, trying to keep her composure. She forced a laugh and asked where he'd learned that. Daniel didn't answer right away. He glanced at Wren, who was staring at him with wide eyes, seeing a side of her father she'd never known existed. He took a slow breath and said quietly that it was a long time ago, and that it didn't matter anymore. But the room wasn't ready to let it go. A retired police officer sitting near the front, a man named Gerald who'd spent 30 years on the force, stood up slowly. He said he recognized that movement, said he'd only seen it trained one place. He asked Daniel straight out if he'd served. Daniel hesitated. He never liked talking about it, not because he was ashamed, but because he didn't want people looking at him differently. After a long pause, he admitted that yes. Years ago, before Wren was born, before he'd ever imagined being a father, he'd served as a combat medic attached to a special response unit. His job wasn't to fight. His job was to keep people alive when everything around them was falling apart. He'd been trained in close quarters defense only because medics sometimes had to protect the wounded when no one else could. He said the hardest part was never the training. The hardest part was coming home and learning how to be soft again, learning how to hold a crying newborn with the same hands that had once held pressure on a soldier's wound. He said he swore to himself that whatever strength he carried, he'd only ever use it to protect, never to prove anything to anyone. The room was completely still. Marisol's face had changed. The confidence was gone, replaced by something quieter, heavier. She looked at Ren, who had walked over and wrapped both arms around her father's waist, and she finally understood what she'd almost humiliated in front of a room full of children. She apologized right there, in front of everyone. Not a rushed, embarrassed apology, but a real one. She admitted she judged him the moment he walked in, hoodie up, saying nothing, and decided he was someone who needed to be put in his place. She said she'd built her whole career on strength and control, but she'd forgotten the most important lesson a real teacher should carry, that you never know what someone has carried to get to where they're standing. Daniel accepted her apology simply. He told her everyone makes assumptions, and what matters is what you do once you realize you were wrong. He wasn't interested in being praised or treated like a hero. He just wanted to go home, make dinner, and help Ren with her homework, the same as every other night. In the weeks that followed, Marisol changed the way she ran her classes. She stopped calling out parents to make examples of them. She started asking about people's stories before assuming she knew them. And every Saturday, in the back row, Daniel kept showing up, quiet as ever, watching his daughter grow stronger. Not because he needed anyone to notice him, but because that had always been enough. Ren never forgot that day. Years later, she'd tell people that the strongest person she ever knew never raised his voice, never bragged, and never needed anyone's approval. He simply showed up, again and again, and let his actions speak when words weren't necessary. She understood then what real strength looked like. Not loud, not boastful, just steady, patient, and quietly unbreakable. If this story moved you, take a second to like this video. Share it with someone who needs a reminder that quiet people often carry the loudest strength. And drop a comment below telling us what part hit you the hardest. And if you believe real heroes don't need applause, comment quiet strength so we know this story reached the right people.